Good morning, everybody. Hope you're keeping well. Today I'm going to be talking to you about, some of the cultural differences between, regional differences between countries, and, the types of marketing and kind of social media platforms that people use, and the ones which kind of resonate the most, depending on what country you're trying to market to. So, let's be absolutely clear. Things like online shopping, booming in countries like China and India. It's like really, really popular, or almost like bursting through the roof. The popularity of those types of, methods of marketing products are absolutely, incredible. In China and India. It's popular in the UK as well, but less so, and that's, I guess, down to cultural shifts. People in this country, I'm English, I'm British, I was born in this country, I'm still in this country, and people shop in different ways in this country. Yes, online shopping is hugely popular, but there's a difference between online shopping and live shopping, like people kind of doing like a demonstration on TikTok live, and these kinds of things, these televised shopping channels. Yeah, they're popular, but not as popular as they are in places like India and China. People prefer to, in this country, maybe go to like eBay or Amazon, find a product they're looking for, look at the description, they order it online, they're never going to get it, and there's a returns policy normally, or a guarantee of some sort. So that's kind of the way most of the online shopping is done in the UK. I'm not saying that these online shopping channels, when I say online, like people actually presenting a product, so I've got like one of the spare batteries for my digital camera here. I've got a couple, actually. I always have a couple fully charged up in case the battery goes flat. So if I'm standing in front of a camera saying, this is a great product, it's 60 minutes time once it's fully charged, lithium battery, it's got a fire protective case here. People generally don't resonate with that. I mean, I can't remember the last time I watched such a channel, whether it's on TikTok live shopping or YouTube shopping, or whatever it might be, or Google shopping. I never buy like that, and I know from first-hand experience that most of the people I know tend to buy, yes, I do buy online, as I said, eBay, Amazon, and there are other websites as well. But with regard to, these kind of TikTok live presenters and stuff like that, I think that's less popular in the UK to what it is with other countries. Okay, so I'm just going to read off screen a little bit. I don't want to make the video too long today because I know you're busy and I'm busy as well. But let's start with this. So, know the platform differences. Because I have quite a lot of followers in India, so I want to make a video which resonates with them as well as the viewers I have in the UK as well. Okay, so India, this is like know the platform differences. So India, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and WhatsApp Business are booming. They're like really popular in India. LinkedIn is strong for professionals in tier 1 cities. Like cities like Delhi, other big cities like Bangalore, for example. In the UK, it's a bit different. Like TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn dominate. I can definitely vouch for Instagram. A lot of businesses use Instagram. I think, it's very popular in the UK because it's like user-friendly. It's very westernized. It's an American headquartered. It's Meta, obviously. So it's an American headquartered platform. And I see a lot of businesses doing well on Instagram. Because they can kind of refine and build up and consolidate their marketing strategy, whether it's short form videos or photographs or anything like that. They can do on Instagram. I do think there's a bit of a lie circulating, if I can phrase it like that you need to be on many platforms to do well. And I think a lot of companies make this mistake. A lot of businesses, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, they think they need to be on many different platforms, and the risk there is you spread yourself too thinly, and do you see what I mean? Instead of having the consistency, you're trying to keep up with sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 social media platforms, and it just becomes overwhelming, and maybe you can't give the correct amount of time or TLC to each platform. So if you can just try and narrow down your marketing strategy to be on, it's difficult to say exactly, but let's say 3 social media platforms, and do really well at that, I think you'll have better results than trying to be on 6 or 7 and spread yourself too thinly. So yeah, Facebook is still relevant, especially for local business and community groups. But definitely I see a lot of businesses doing well on Instagram, and I see them, TikTok as well, but I see them doing, perhaps, a lot of businesses tend to market on Instagram more so than LinkedIn. That's definitely what I see. LinkedIn tends in the UK tends to be a bit more for business announcements or recruitment or that type of thing, or announcing that you've got a new job and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Instagram is a bit more universal, and I do see a lot of businesses having a lot of success with that in the UK. So if you're in India and you're trying to market to the UK, you might want to just pivot your strategy away from maybe YouTube Shorts and WhatsApp Business to TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn if you're trying to sell to the UK market, because those are the key differences. Yeah. Okay, so use of language and cultural nuance, like obviously India, Hindi and English mix. So a lot of people tend to in India have this kind of mix of English and Indian Hindi language and stuff, and it kind of works great for the younger audiences, to be honest. But there's a bit like all these countries, there are regional dialects, regional languages, and that can matter a lot outside of the big urban metropolitan cities. So in India, just try and keep things concise, witty and relevant with regard to the language. Obviously it needs to be in English. Reference to sports, festivals, trending themes, memes, all that kind of stuff, all resonates with the UK audience. And I think there are differences between, if you're like an English company, you're trying to sell to businesses in India. There's many companies in the UK that I don't think quite go about it the right way, and vice versa. If you're in India, you need to be able to step outside of your kind of Indian personality and your cultural norms and your traditions, and do a bit of research as to what works in the UK, because it is a little bit different. It's a common mistake. Whatever country you're in, you automatically think that the way you market your products and services is going to be almost the same, and it's not. There are differences. There's differences worldwide, and especially regional, on a regional basis. Europe, Asia Pacific, the Americas, Australia, New Zealand, to even Russia. To the platform and China and stuff. To the platforms that those countries use, and that those countries' governments endorse or prepared to put up with and stuff. So yeah, there are differences, guys. Just if you're trying to keep market to the UK market, just try and link it in with British tradition, different calendar events in the UK annual calendar, and as I said, LinkedIn, TikTok and Instagram tend to rule, and Facebook as well in the UK. Once you start getting onto other platforms, obviously YouTube is very popular in the UK as well, but I do think that people go to YouTube for slightly different reasons. Maybe to learn like a how-to video, or to learn how to do something, or to get some entertainment, to find some music, or to get a bit of escapism from the daily grind. Do you see what I mean? So maybe people don't go to YouTube to look for a product to buy, if that makes sense. I think on Instagram, TikTok and LinkedIn, you'll have a bit more luck with marketing a particular product, as opposed to YouTube. That's definitely what I see anyway. YouTube is obviously YouTube Shorts, and you're going to find that short form content is popular and it's on the increase, but depending on the complexity of your products and how much time you have and how much information you want to get across, you might find it difficult to get that across in a YouTube Short. YouTube long form videos typically sort of 10, 15, 20, up to 30 minutes. That's great. But again, people will only watch your video for so long. If you're still watching this video, well done. But the reason I say that joking is because some people click off after a couple of minutes, you see, which I think is a mistake, because then you miss a lot of crucial information. So it's about keeping your content interesting and relevant, and just making sure you keep your viewers interested, whatever the target market is, whichever country they're in. One thing I do like about YouTube is international, so I mentioned I've got a lot of subscribers in India and Indonesia and Vietnam and different places, different countries, Pakistan, South Africa, all over, but maybe people don't go to YouTube to buy a product, if you see what I mean. I'm sure they don't. I mean, if I'm looking to buy a new digital camera, for sure I might, type in reviews digital camera into YouTube, see what comes up, but I'm not actually going to go there to look to actually make a purchase, if that makes sense. I'm more likely to go to like an e-commerce website, or I'm maybe going to find what I'm looking for on the company page of Instagram company page of the company that makes the cameras, or something like that. Do you see where I'm coming from? But YouTube, it isn't irrelevant, it's just slightly different, and I think people go to YouTube for many different reasons. Okay, so last point here, build a trust with social proof. So if you can, try and, build reviews and stuff like that. Again, in India it's different. In India, like, users seek reviews on something called Flipkart, Amazon and Google video testimonials. That tends to work great in India. What tends to work great in the UK, a little bit different. Trustpilot, Google reviews as well, and case studies are valued in the UK. A lot of when people go to a website, they look for case studies. I certainly do. Depending on the type of product, service, and the value of the product, I will look for like social proof, and I will look at case studies. But in India, it's a bit different. People look at Flipkart, Google reviews, obviously, Google video not Google reviews, Google video testimonials. They're quite popular. Video is hugely popular because I think you can, that's why I'm on YouTube. I think you can deduce more from somebody talking on a video. Just get an idea for, who they are. Do they know what they're talking about? What kind of background are they from? Are they telling the truth? Just by looking at somebody's eye and the way they're talking and the way they're dressed, and I think you can pull something from that in a way that you can't from like a written review on sort of Google reviews or Trustpilot, because a lot of these review platforms have had to introduce measures to counter fake reviews and stuff, and anybody can write anything. If you imagine I'm pretending to be your ex-employer and I write you a fantastic review and post it to your LinkedIn profile, where people can see, that's not the same as somebody appearing on video saying that XYZ was a great employee, and they really did wonders when they worked for us. And do you see what I mean? So video is really powerful because I think people can get a better idea of whether you're telling the truth, and the whole scenario, how you speak, whether you're real, how you dress. Not that the dress is 100% of it, but just generally people can deduce a lot more from video than they can from some kind of written testimonial. So yeah. Okay, one more point. Mobile first. Now, smartphone use is absolutely rife. It is in the UK as well. I've got two smartphones. The reason I've got two is because the camera is better on one than it is on the other. So the one with the better camera is a bit more lightweight, and I carry that around in my pocket. But whereas the other one, which I use for work and business purposes, I don't really use it for taking selfies and photos and stuff. But that's what I kind of use as like the work stroke business phone, for all the official government agencies and this, that, and the other. So HMRC and all the other people, and any kind of contract work comes through to what I class as like the business phone. Whereas the fun phone, if I can call it that, it's it's just a better camera, the front-facing camera and the rear camera, and it's lighter weight, and I just think it's better for like a fun phone, carry around in your pocket and make videos and stuff, depending on where you are and whether you want to make a video or a reel or take photos or whatever it may be. But the reason I mention that is because everyone's using smartphones, right? So all websites got to be optimized for smartphone use. And with the AI overviews now, a lot of people are finding that when they go to Google, they're very happy with the AI overview, so they're not clicking through into a website. And a lot of companies are, not getting the traffic that they used to, before all this AI overview stuff came in, and, the way Google revamped everything. But the reason I mention this is because in India, over 90% of users access the internet via smartphones, often, with low data voltage and, fast loading. What it says here is like optimize for low data usage and fast load. So optimize your pages so that they can load really fast if you're trying to market to India, because if you've got like a clunky website with a lot of images and embedded videos and stuff, it's going to load too fast and they're going to click off. Where if you've got a more simplistic structure where the page can load and be mobile optimized almost instantly, then you're going to have much more luck with that in India. UK mobile first still dominates. We see that in the way that short form content is taking off, not just YouTube Shorts, but like Instagram Reels, TikTok Reels. These are like shorter clips, like 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. There's different types. There's business short form content, and there's the kind of fun stuff. But if you're a business and you're trying to market your stuff to India, make your content mobile friendly, make your YouTube Shorts as interesting as possible, mix it up with special effects, try and get your message across really concisely, as naturally as possible within that 60 second, 90 second, 180 second short form video clip. And if you do that and you do it well, you'll have more success in places like India. Also in the UK, mobile is very popular. It's a bit more mixed in the UK. People use mobile laptops, desktops, but there's no doubt that when people are out and about at work or in the course of their normal day, they've all got their phones in their pockets. And if you just mobile, optimize for mobile, and I think all around, even globally, more people are using smartphones, and if you can try and optimize your content and your messaging and stuff around that, you'll probably have more luck, to be honest. And you won't need to spend a lot of money on ads, because the algorithm seems to favor like short form content. I realise I do make long form content, and that's kind of deliberate, because I've got like the the kit, not the smartphone, I've got smartphones as well, but I've got the digital camera and a couple of tripods, and I've kind of leaned or geared my channel towards like long form content. But I'm well aware that I do need to be making more short form content as well, because that's definitely a way to attract more subscribers. However, in the same way that making long form content is not that exactly, it's easy for me because I've got all the kit and I've been doing it for a while. But if you don't have a digital camera, proper digital camera, I'm talking about proper vlogging camera, and all the tripods and all the different bits of kit and editing software and stuff, if you're just trying to start from scratch and use a shaky mobile phone, you might struggle to make long form content. You almost certainly will. In the same way, people who've kind of optimized for long form content, might find it a little bit, if they're not used to it, might find it a little bit difficult initially to make short form content, because it's not just a case of getting your phone and going like that. It needs to be interesting, it needs to look good, it needs to sound good, you need to get the right message across, and you've only got a very limited period of time frame to do it. So if you can do that and just try and optimize for mobile, it's all about practice, whether you're doing short form content or long form content. If you can do a bit of a mix of both, that might be better. But everything's about practice, guys, girls, So, I'll wrap up there. I've talked for too long already. Have a great rest of the weekend, and hopefully I'll see you again soon for my next video. So take care, I'll see you soon.